indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day and all the opportunities it brings with it. We ask that you watch over this meeting and that you help us to focus on all the positive things that we can do for our community. Amen.
Thank you, Nancy. So advise that meeting notices covering this meeting have been sent and posted as required under the Open Public Meetings Act. Approval of the first order of business is the approval of the council meeting minutes of 6/7/17 and 6/21/17, and the executive session minutes of 6/21/17. We have a motion and second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions, deletions to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, could we have roll call?
View. Yes. Reardon.
Yes.
Haney.
Yes.
DeLucre.
Abstain, 6-7, yes to the rest.
Sarah.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther.
I'm going to abstain for the regular meeting of 6/21. I was only here for the beginning of it, but I was here for the executive session.
Motion carried.
Okay, next we move to the approval of payroll, the requisition list, and operating expenses. Could I have a motion and second, please?
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? See none, could we have roll call, please?
View. Yes. Reardon.
Yes.
Haney.
Yes.
DeLucre.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain to 17, 12, 91, 17, 13, 20, 13, 27, 13, 3, 0, and 14, 7, 0. Yes to everything else.
17. I'm sorry, what was the last one? 1730. What was that?
17, excuse me, Lynn?
I'm sorry, did you say 1730?
No, I said 14, 7, 0, 13, 3, 0, and 13, 27.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the meeting for public comment, and this is for agenda items only, so if anyone would like to make a comment on something that is on the agenda, please step forward, use the microphone, and state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no public comment at this time, I'm going to close the public portion. And at this time, we have very special presentation to make. We want to honor one of our outstanding citizens, Mr. Ron Powell, for
Gotcha.
If I could ask Ron to come up, please. We have a couple of things that we want to come down to the microphone.
Gotcha, Ron.
I hope that's a check in your hand.
So we were able to get Ron here this morning because we're going to be talking about our new flood designation that Ron was so involved in with our community rating system, the committee that he served on. But we wanted to recognize Ron Powell first, and Chief Bennett knows for all the years, in appreciation for his many years as a volunteer Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator. Ron, we want to recognize you for that and your loyal and dedicated service to the city of Brigantine. And this is a plaque that is presented to Ron Powell. It reads, an outstanding team member, extraordinary friend, and a valued member of our community. And we also have a proclamation that we have for Ron, and would Ron take that for just a second? Thank you. Every year, Ron, we would talk about him serving as a volunteer Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, and he would say, I'll stay on another year, and I'd say, well, the salary hasn't changed. It was a volunteer position, but need to talk about the importance of having Ron Powell involved. As the owner of a utility construction company, it was vitally important to have his expertise on our emergency management team and also our community rating system team as well. Ron lent his expertise and decades of experience working in Brigantine, going back to the time when many of the streets were put in within the city of Brigantine. The infrastructure was put into those areas. He volunteered his time, never asked for anything, and certainly was someone who always had something positive to add to the committee. And we really saw what Ron's strengths were all about after Superstorm Sandy, because he was, in terms of recovery, his help in guiding some of the early work that had to be done with the cleanup, and then guiding us through the process of getting our discount for the flood insurance, and knowing exactly where the problems are with our infrastructure because of all the work he has. So we also have a proclamation for Ron, and it says, whereas Ron Powell has been an invaluable source of information since he first started serving in 2000 under Captain Jeff Duran as Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, whereas since that time, Ron has served the community before, during, and after major events, including providing key knowledge and resources after the devastation caused by Superstorm Sandy. A lifetime resident of Brigantine, Ron provided support with the help of his business, Lafayette Construction being one of the biggest cleanup contractors during the initial efforts following the storm. Ron, working as a member of the PPI committee alongside the city, was key in having the city of Brigantine's community rating system elevated from 7 to 6 and now 5. And whereas Ron Powell has, with enthusiasm and effectiveness, made an excellent and constructive contribution to our community through all of his various endeavors, and has won the highest regard of all of his associates and the admiration of the citizens throughout the community. Now therefore I, on behalf of Brigantine City Council and the people of the city of Brigantine, do hereby commend and recognize and thank Ron Powell and encourage our community to join with us in extending our deepest appreciation for his distinguished service and our best wishes for his continued success in his future endeavors. And I didn't mention it here, but you all know that he is also the guy who comes every year for the Toys for Tots and Marine Corps League. And he is tireless in that effort in bringing joy during the holiday season to the children of our community. I can think of no better representative of what a citizen should do than what Ron Powell has done for this community. Ron, it is my honor to recognize you.
Right. Way to go, Ron.
And we have, I think, a special plaque as well, right?
This was the gimmick to get it. This is our plaque there that we received from FEMA, awarding us a Class 5 rating in our CRS program. Ron, as you mentioned, Ron was a huge part of that effort and continues, hopefully, to be a part of that effort as an Hartford Forge.
Thanks for inviting me up here. First of all, I'd like to, thank everybody for these awards, especially the council and everybody in the audience here. I don't know what to say. I want to thank my family, my wife especially. She's been through all these things with me, and
Where's our plaque?
anyway, I brought I brought some information here for FEMA to pass out to all the council members because I don't think they've seen some of the latest stuff that has to do with the things that I have in my jacket. So anyway, can I give this to you, Ed, to pass out? May have to make some photocopies because I only made one copy. Okay. So I want to thank everybody.
Thank you, Ron.
We're gonna hang this one up in the lobby.
You can't have everything.
Actually, I already did.
Thank you, Ron. And, we can take a couple-minute recess. You don't have to sit through the rest of this meeting.
Oh, thank you.
That was for the Powell family, unless you really want to. Thank you.
Do we have to go with this whole great recess?
Nah.
See ya.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you,
Good
Celine.
to see you.
All right, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Back anytime.
Okay. All right, the first order of business is an introduction of an ordinance number 22 of 2017, amending the traffic ordinance. And this is amending Chapter 284-41, Schedule 5, prohibited turns at intersections as follows: remove 44th Street and Bayshore Avenue, add 13th Street and Brigantine Avenue, no left turn westbound on 13th Street to southbound on Brigantine Avenue, and add 13th Street South, Brigantine Avenue, no left turn eastbound on 13th Street South to northbound on Brigantine Avenue. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
All right, can I say something first?
No, have a motion
No,
and
you
second.
have that
All
motion
right,
second.
all right, okay.
I'll second.
All right, sorry.
Okay. Any discussion?
No. Just something I just wanted to mention, Ed, right, I had asked about if we can make it for, say, June, July, and August for the left-hand turns on 13th Street. You know, there's no turn on red. I see signs in different places, no turn on red between 8 and 4, Monday to Friday. So I just asked if we can make this no left turn during the busy season and not January and February and the rest of the time when we don't need it, but, you know, and I just wanted to bring it up, and you said we're gonna,
So we will look into that option because it's a county road. We will start with the county and also with the DOT. And
Does the
if it's-
police chief have anything to say about that? Because he's looking over.
I was just waiting to see what Ed was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it's a good idea. That's, as our traffic has been increasing here on the island, particularly in the summer months, it is a problem. Even in the off-season, I don't think it would be an issue leaving it that way.
oh, yeah, okay.
You mean leaving it to no left?
Leaving it no left turns. There's sight issues there on both sides of the intersection. And if you have somebody that's trying to go into Andres and somebody that's coming out of Ocean Beverage and wants to head south on the avenue, it happens pretty regularly. I'd recommend leaving it that way all year
Well,
round.
if you recommend it, then I pull back on it.
I would be concerned about confusion too, you know, with
Correct. Just keep it consistent.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion?
I know that myself and I talked to the mayor about the problems we have down there, especially in the summertime. You know, the UPS truck that has no place to park, they just take up a lane and then you can't see around them and stuff like that. It is a dangerous situation. We finally came to an agreement and asked Mr. Stinson to go ahead with this ordinance, and I think it's for the public good. You know, it might be a pain but, you know, we don't want to see anybody get hurt down there or even possible the ultimate end of it. So that's why I think this is a great ordinance.
Good. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
Pugh,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, Resolution 2017-134, authorizing continued participation in the Municipal Alliance Program. Could we have a motion and a second, please?
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay, in discussion. Just want to congratulate the Alliance for successful Hooked on Fishing program that you had last week, and I know that the work of the Alliance is going to become certainly more and more important as continue everyone, municipal level, state level, and beyond, combating and sending out the right message for especially youth to avoid the use of drugs and alcohol, or the abuse. And I think the Alliance is working very well together to promote that message in Brigantine. So congratulations, John, and hopefully you'll continue doing some of the things you're doing and expand going into the next year. Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say also, John, it was a wonderful job. I was talking to a few people that were there, and they couldn't believe the fishing poles and everything that were given out to the kids, and it was just a very happy scene down there, and kudos to you.
Yeah, I was out there early with you, John. I think I pretty much stayed right close to the end anyway, and it really was an awesome job, a great event, and it really helps build our community and just strengthens our youth. Thank you.
I know it's always a bonus when you have the Coast Guard come and do their rescue swimmer jump out right in front of everybody. It's really a great experience for everyone to see that.
Quite the team effort, too, I might add.
No.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, could we have roll call?
Pugh,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, Resolution 2017-135, the work change order, number one, the final resurfacing of Brigantine Boulevard, 32nd Street to 34th Street. It is a net decrease of, it's amended from
Mayor, I'm sorry, it's an increase.
increase, all right?
I was going to say, what are we talking about?
Yes. It will amend the resolution to say increase of $14,970.72. Okay, could I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, in discussion. Okay, seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Pugh,
Yes.
Reardon.
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, Resolution 2017-136, authorizing the shared service agreement with Galloway Township for a purchasing agent. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, this is a shared service that we have for Galloway Township. We share their QPA. And Ed, do you want to talk a little bit about how that's working, or Roxanne, since it's in your department?
Mayor, thank you. And I'm sure Roxanne can help me with this. We have now for the second year had this arrangement with Galloway. We share their qualified purchasing agent. He comes here one day a week, but is available by phone, and we use him we use him often during the week as well while he's in Galloway. As a QPA, he gives us certain opportunities in the financing world because of his certification as a qualified purchasing agent. It raises our thresholds, our bid thresholds, things like that. He also guides us through the purchasing process. And I'm sure you all recall in the past year how many purchasing co-ops we have joined, which really is an initiative from Dennis, and it has helped us in purchasing all of our equipment over the past year. So it is a benefit. I think he does a very good job. Roxanne, do you have any?
He certainly brings a lot of expertise and guidance, and it's been extremely helpful over the past year and a half he's been here. He's helped me immensely to organize and make sure that we're, dotting our i's and crossing our t's. So it's money well spent, for sure.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, just one question. Ed, does the contract that's with our packet represent any material changes from the agreement that's in place now?
It does not.
Okay, thanks.
It's just a longer period because last year it was the end of the year, so it's just long.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, resolution 2017-136, authorizing, oops, that's the one we did. 137, authorizing the purchase of one 2018 Ford F-150 750, F-750 rather, regular cab with body plow truck for the Public Works Department. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, John, what is this replacing?
This is going to replace a 1999, I believe it is, F-550.
Great.
It's a bigger truck. We feel that it's a good purchase for Public Works.
Ed, anything else?
Just to point out, this was purchased through one of those co-ops that we
Yeah.
just mentioned, and it is our effort to help Public Works continue to do the great work that they do by giving them the equipment they need to do that work.
So are they actually shipping this from Watsonville, California? Okay. That's a national co-op.
Yeah, it's in this
Yeah.
country.
Yep.
What do you think, Chief Black? What do you think? You think we should get this?
Fair amounts, right?
Okay, can we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
Reardon.
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre.
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
And resolution 2017-138, authorized purchase of one 550 XL four-wheel drive regular cab for the Public Works Department. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
This get crazy now, isn't it? I'm sorry.
Okay. Any discussion on this one?
This will be replacing the trash truck that we use on the beach. We're going to take the old trash truck and use it for recycling. We're going to put recycling cans out on the beach. It's not going to maybe be this year, but next year there will be recycling cans on the beach.
Great.
That's great. Good. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none,
John,
can
I
we
was
have-
just going to say thanks for just, maximizing the miles and everything. The one was a 99. I've seen the other trucks along the beach, and I think getting some new equipment is an excellent thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre.
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution 2017-139, authorizing award of bid for sodium hypochlorite solution. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is an up to amount of 65,000? Should not exceed?
Yes, Mayor. The division has instituted a new accounting notice that says in our contracts that we have to put a dollar amount. So now when you see these estimated amounts, it's based upon previous history, because they want a not to exceed amount now on all contracts. So it really is a guesstimate.
So the bid is still on whether it's gallons or whatever?
Yes,
and
and it
then
will definitely be upon what we use. We just have to.
Try and estimate.
Now, put an estimate so that you have a greater understanding about how much it could cost.
And on our end, each year, in the past years, we would do a blanket purchase order based on that estimate anyway. So it is simply, providing that number to council, so you have kind of a ballpark of what we expect to spend in purchasing this contract.
And what you're potentially approving.
Great. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
Reardon.
Yes.
Haney.
Yes.
DeLucre.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Mayor Gunther.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Resolution 2017-140, authorizing concession agreement with Vipley LLC for electronic sales and distribution of beach tags. We have a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, do you want to explain how Vipley will work?
I can start, but I'm going to pass it off to John because he really took lead in this effort. But this is an application on our phones that will allow anybody to purchase a beach badge through your phone, through this app. There is a user fee that will be charged to the purchaser. There's no fee charged to us, so we would get the full price of the transaction. Vipley would get that application fee. This is something other communities, other beach communities have been using and using with success, and it's an effort for us to kind of be more customer friendly or customer service oriented. John, you want to explain it a little more?
Yeah. Like Ed said, there's an app on your phone. You pay through a credit card on your own phone. When it goes through and the beach tag inspector comes up, you can either purchase a daily, a weekly, or a seasonal, and they'll have cards on them. The consumer will scan the card, and it will come up a green screen, and it'll tell the beach tag inspector how many you purchased. And then they will physically hand you a badge or two, whatever you paid for. You can't use it twice, because if they try to do it again and they scan it again after it's already been used, the screen comes up red. So it's very user-friendly. Like Ed said, there's a lot of municipalities in the area. Ventnor's using it. Spoke to Ventnor, spoke to other municipalities, and with good success. We think it's a good thing.
Great. Is there's something that the beach inspectors will have to have?
They're the QL cards, the scan cards, that's all they carry. And they'll have a weekly, a seasonal, and a daily. So if you say, I want a daily, and they scan the daily. They can do it prior to going to the beach. We're still working out some details if we're going to allow them to purchase them in January, and then it'll stay on their phone until they come to the beach and use it.
Great.
Just another convenience for the beachgoers.
Will this eliminate any jobs?
No, ma'am.
No, okay,
No, it's just a convenience.
Right.
Some people go to the beach and they only have a credit card on them,
right. Okay.
and you can use it on the credit card.
It just might eliminate the long lines at the beginning of the season, right before Memorial Day,
That was
everybody.
one of the things that caught our eye. Actually, the representative from Vipley is here if you need any more questions answered. But one of the municipalities has a separate Vipley line when they have their busy season, because they just go up and scan it, and they're in and out, and it will eliminate the long line.
Okay.
It also would help, I was just talking with Julie the other day, and our beach taggers, you know, they sell a lot of tags on the beach, and they carry money with them. This might eliminate a lot more of that burden, but they'll still be working.
And there's no cost to the city, which is excellent.
Yeah, there's no cost.
I just downloaded the app. It took me about 30 seconds, and there's already about a dozen beaches on there, and it seems to work very, very well. And the other thing I'd like to say is, out of the dozen beaches that are listed on here, Brigantine Season Pass is less than 11 out of the 12. I mean, our neighbors' beaches to the south run $30 a season, and some as far north as Seabright, Manasquan, Asbury Park, and Seaside are $60, $80, and $100 for a season tag. So come to Brigantine, you get a deal. And use your app.
Buying Eldorado today?
Did you buy one of those seasonals, Mike?
Yeah.
It's coming from a man of foot for us.
There's no further discussion. Could we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
You didn't get the memo.
Okay, Resolution 2017-141 is an insertion of a special item of revenue for the Municipal Alliance. Could we have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, the revenue amount is $16,319, and is the match municipal a match, or is that a match from the county?
There's actually a cash match that the municipality is to put forth, and we'll take that amount out of, in our budget. We have a cash match, we have a matching amount that I'll transfer the money from. And then there's also an in-kind match that the city contributes, which you would see in the agreement that was just passed earlier.
Right.
I think it's about 12 grand, and that would be all the police, the fire, public works, all their time spent on the activities that supports Municipal Alliance, that nature. So the revenue that we get from the county is $16,319, and then the expenses will be the $20,399, and the in-kind is kept separately.
Great. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution 2017-142 is a rental inspection fee refund. Could we have a motion and a second, please?
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, next we move to our consent agenda. We have the Women's Surf Fishing Tournament request, the Brigantine Chamber of Commerce Beach Movie request. We usually don't comment on consent agendas, but this is very creative. They are showing Jaws at the Brigantine Beach Cove, the Brigantine Cove Beach on August 25th. And I understand there may be an opportunity to even get in the water with an inner tube during the showing of that, but...
Is Christie in there?
And we had the Brigantine Beach Volleyball Association tournament request, the Outdoor Food Fest outside music request, the Women's Surf Fishing Club license 8821 and 822. We have a motion and a second, please.
Make that motion.
Second.
Could we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, now we move to our council manager committee discussions, and I'm going to ask Ed to start with the good news about the new streetscape grant.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Just as an update, we were fortunate to receive the NJEDA grant for the Central Business District. That was about 2 years ago. As we had done, we apply for every grant we can for the streetscape. That project we had applied for better than 15 years. We continue to apply through Jim Rotella, our grant consultant, and we received notice from the state DOT that we will receive $1 million grant, transportation alternative grant for the Lighthouse District. So that would be from 30th Street through to the Circle. So that's the great news. We're right now going to be working with the DOT to start the process in securing our professional services to put that design together. Council may recall when we applied for the same concept as was completed in the Central Business District. So that would be the intent would be the lighting, the hardscape, the benches, the landscaping, things like that. So we'll be moving with the DOT, we'll be moving through that process. And we will continue to apply for every opportunity we have to continue that effort to go through our business districts and complete the same program. So we've been very fortunate, obviously, to get these 2 grants, but we'll continue the effort to hopefully get more and finish all of our business districts.
And Ed is being a little humble in this, but the reason we were told that our application was looked favorably upon by our grant consultant was because of the plan that we have and how well organized it is. And we were one of very few grants that were awarded statewide. So for us to get a second one is quite an accomplishment. So, I want to congratulate Ed and his work with the engineering on the initial grant, because that made it possible for us to get a subsequent grant because it was done so well. And it's a plan that is very easy to implement. We have the plans ready to go, and we've already demonstrated a record of success in getting that project done. So Ed, I want to thank you for what you've done, and also Jim Rotella is not here, but for his help in getting that grant through. And Ed's not exaggerating, we probably applied for 15 years before we got the first one, so great work on that.
Thank you, Mayor. It is credit to everybody involved, and there's a lot of people involved, including always Public Works and our finance team. And so we're happy to be able to do that. I'll tell you that we did do our final walkthrough on the Central Business District with the NJEDA, I guess on Friday, right, John? Yes. So that project is wrapping up, and we're hoping to close it out in August with a final work change order for council, and then submission to the NJEDA, and they are hopeful to have it closed out and us fully reimbursed by the end of August, which will make Roxanne happy. So we're very fortunate. We had very good professionals on that job, a very good contractor in El Feriazi, and the business owners all came in and participated in that design, and then also in the construction. They took some efforts on themselves to add work, add concrete to help enhance the project. So we were very fortunate, and I think it came out very well, and yes, that does help us in future applications as it did for this one. So thank you.
Ed, I have a question. With the $1 million, which is about 700, the other one was 750,000. Is there any chance on Brigantine Avenue? We have a few like Aunt B's and the new electrical bike shop that's opened up, and the seafood place. Can we use some of that money if we don't use everything down there? Can we use it towards that, or can we ask for another grant for that area too? Because they seem like they're neglected. They feel they're neglected down there.
So we absolutely can ask for additional grants, and that has always been the intent. When you apply for the grants, they limit you in the dollar amounts that you can apply for. So you kind of have to geographically pick the area that's going to pretty much equal that maximum amount. I don't know that we can extend this project around to include those, but we can ask. But the estimate, I'll say, for the area that we were granted, the estimate's 1.2 million, and we received 1 million. So I don't expect that we will have additional funds in this grant, but certainly once we get through the design, if it looks that way, we can ask. But I know council's commitment to continuing this process, so we will absolutely, Jim Rotella is already looking for other grant opportunities to continue this effort.
And plus, you know, since we're going to be doing work right on down the street, maybe we can get a better price, so maybe and see how much it really would cost to do the same thing at that particular area, because it sounds like you're going to come back and ask for $200,000 from council. If it's not too much, maybe we can just do it ourselves. If you feel that that grant would be too little, or get another grant, it took 15 years to get 2 of them. It seems like we're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
And to get another grant is, you know, it's like my hair growing back, you know, slim and done. So maybe we can look at that possibility too.
We will.
Thanks, Ed.
Is it possible to do the work before receiving the grant?
No. No, for almost every grant, it is, nothing is reimbursable except after the award.
Okay.
If I said that correctly, they only fund work that will happen, not work that has.
Okay.
So we're only talking about maybe 3 or 4 blocks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it may be something to look at if we put it out as an alternate or something.
The nice thing is
Yeah, we
have
can
the
get a better
design.
price
You
at
have the
that time.
design, you know what, yeah.
Right, and we'll know what the
Right.
unit prices are, so we can
Right.
certainly look at that and give council what that cost will be.
When do you think this starting next 4th of July, probably?
So the best laid plans, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to go through with the DOT, go through the process for getting our professionals, and that will happen soon. We have some ideas that I want to talk with council in the next executive session about that process, and we'll move. But hopefully, since we have the design done in terms of the concept, we will not need to have the meetings and the conceptual plans and go through that whole process. So it should move where we could award the professional services sometime September and look to go out to bid right towards the end of this year and construct in the end of winter, early spring. So that would be the time that we'd like to see.
Great, that's a good idea about including that other area too. And if I could follow up on, because this was something that was discussed at our economic development meeting the other day on Tuesday. Deputy Mayor Simpson was there and Councilman Reardon. This all works together, you know, these issues, the streetscaping as well as what we've done with the rental registration fee this year that will give us an opportunity next year to have some dollars to do some tourism promotion for the city of Brigantine. Also was mentioned, and I think it's something that we would like to work on this year, is we'd like to give the city manager a little bit of discretion to use a public relations firm that is actually being used by other municipalities right now to get the word out about some of the great things that are happening this summer, because I believe we're experiencing one of our busiest summers in the last several years, and it's important to get the information out while the buzz is going on. You have a lot of people in town every weekend There are a lot of great events going on, including what happens every week at the farmers market and what the events that the chamber has sponsored. We talked about the movies. We'll have the Luau on the Beach coming up. All the civic organizations doing their events. But I think with that, the time to put something out is now. So we would have to carve out something in the budget to do this. And I'd like for us to give the city manager some leeway and we're not talking about a lot of money. We're talking about, I don't know at this point, about 5,000? I think so. To create some of that going on right now. It is being done in our neighboring municipalities, and we're kind of behind. We'll have the funding next year to go with a more comprehensive program, but we should put something out this year while things are going so well. And I think we have a good story to tell, and it's one that we should make sure we get out there so that if anyone is considering taking a vacation, renting a property for a week, that they may consider Brigantine, although there may not be a lot available this year. There probably are still some units available, but also if they want to come down and visit. And as you know, a lot of our homeowners came here first. Either they visited the casinos and drove over the bridge, or they stayed here for a week and decided to buy. So I think it's important for us to get something out now while things are going on, and it's very positive.
Yeah, along those lines, Mayor, just to say thanks, Ed, to you and all your associates, and I'm sure that this lighthouse area will come out just as well as our central business district came out. I'm sure it's going to look just as beautiful, and like the mayor was just saying, it'll bring more and more people down here, spread the word, build up our ratables, and hopefully ease everything for our taxpayers as well. So I think just some good foresight, and it's nothing but a great positive thing. So.
I thought you were going to mention that Ward 3 is getting $1 million and Ward 2 only got $750,000.
Yeah, I don't want to rub it in too
Hey,
much, man.
got the juice, yeah. The grant was applied for before last November, too. But that being said, I'd like to mention, as what I've learned being on council is every now and again you get a complaint here and there from people about different things, every now and again. But the streetscape that's gone on and that's completed here in Center City, Brigantine, or Midtown, it's just been positive feedback from the business owners to guests, people. So it's nice to hear good things, compliments coming back to us. And so I'm sure that if the Lighthouse District turns out as well, it'll be another great thing. And the point really needs to be made that we do these things that continue without any cost to the taxpayers, which is great. So who knows, maybe it could be 4 years in a row there'll be no tax increase in Brigantine. There's a lot to be said.
I mean, yeah, as everybody comes through down the causeway and they come into that Lighthouse District, I mean, that's something they're going to remember. That's something they're going to go home, whether in the immediate area or they're a 400-mile radius from here, whatever it might be. And it's just going to help our town more and more. It's got a lot of potential.
Just if I could, just a quick update on the Central Business District. We talked about providing the LED uplighting. So once this project is complete and we get to close it out with the NJEDA, final the contract with the contractor, we're going to look at, John has been working with our electrical contractor to get prices to do that LED. So hopefully, once we finalize this contract, we'll look to the balance in that bond to purchase the LED lighting. We're pretty excited about that. John has some great ideas on that LED lighting. That concept will be moved up to the Lighthouse District as well.
Great. The infrastructure's in place already to do that, right?
I like the idea of the PR firm getting the word out. And I remember years ago, families would come here and the kids would say, oh, there's nothing to do in Brigantine. There is so much going on this island right now. I drove down 42nd Street the other night to go to the Green Team meeting, and the entire length of the street was packed. There was speed and agility camp going on at the Rams field. There were people at the mini golf, there were tennis players, there were bocce players, inside it was pickleball. Just in that one block, it was amazing. And just every night this week, there have been activities, there have been golf tournaments and things on the beach. It's lifeguard tournaments. It's just really been a great week.
We do have a great story to tell.
And just get the word out, because now there is a ton of stuff to do on this island.
And you can see with the great crowds we had, Family Fun Day, 4th of July weekend, the farmers market and everything, it was packed.
Mayor, if I could, there's
Sure.
just a couple other construction updates. I received an email from the Army Corps. They received bids for our beach fill this fall, that's expected this fall. That is the emergency storm reduction funded. So no calls from the city for the base bid. The bids came in, the low bidder was about $7 million to do this work. They expect to have a pre-construction meeting next month. And then at that meeting, we'll learn schedules and timing and whether or not they will do additional work. So the way they bid those beach fill projects, they have a base bid, and then they have alternates for options, additional sand options. Those options, if awarded, they may require a cost match. I'll find all that out. I'll report back to council as that process moves forward. But it's good news. They have the bids. Look to award it in the next month, and we'll have a pre-construction meeting. Also, an update on the county paving. So the re-signalization project is almost complete. I did reach out to the county engineer to talk about the timing of the 38th Street light, which seems to hold red on the boulevard longer than it needs to allow 38th Street to turn left. So they are looking into that, and they'll get back to me with an adjustment on that. But as far as that project goes, the one portion that is left to be completed is the paving of the Harbor Beach Boulevard intersection, and that will happen this Monday and Tuesday, weather permitting. So be prepared, because we will be down to one lane in each direction. There will be police, traffic police there, but we just have to bite the bullet, unfortunately, this time of year. But 2 days and that should be completed. Right. They also took bids and I think awarded a contract for the paving of Brigantine Boulevard from that intersection to the Lighthouse Circle, which is scheduled to start sometime in September. We're trying to push them back to later September as opposed to earlier September. And I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Great.
Regarding 38th Street, Ed, you talked about the timing of the light, and maybe, I don't know if Chief Bennett might want to speak to this. Are they going to address the sensor as far as when there's no traffic there? Because that's still occurring. Is that something, is that included?
Yeah,
doing that too? Because
I
that's
mean,
occurring
that's
still.
part of what our conversation was. So the person that I spoke to in the engineering department was looking into that whole situation. So I'm not sure if right now, if it is just set on a time limit. So once the sensor turns, then it just stays for a certain amount of time. He's looking into that. He's going to get back to me with what adjustments can be made. But they really don't need to have it green exiting 38th Street for as long as they do, or as often as they do.
Can I jump back to the public relations thing? Are we now asking Ed to do, or authorizing Ed to do something specific, to enter into an agreement with a specific vendor to do something?
That's the way I took it. I was going to reach out to a PR firm that is being used in, I believe, Summers Point, and ask for a price to do, to just start putting out some nice stories about what's going on right now.
Okay, so we have a specific vendor that we're looking at, right?
At least one. So Jim Rotella is helping me with this, and there are a couple that he mentioned. The one I know is working in Summers Point.
Right. But I guess my question is, and Fred, you can feel free to weigh in on this, in terms of what official actions we need to take or propose to take, are we doing anything right now other than saying to Ed, get prices, get proposals? Or are we saying, it sounded, Phil, when you first talked about it, about cost that, and wanting to give Ed some more flexibility, that we might be trying to give Ed the authority to enter into a contract with some vendor to do something.
So, Ed, you're going to get put out like a, like an RFP?
Proposals.
Yeah.
So my understanding is, that, you know, for a contract under $5,000, we're allowed to enter into that contract.
Okay, well, and that's fine in terms of the process piece of it, but what, you know, I'd like to know who are the vendors that we're looking to, because there was mention specifically of a vendor that's doing work for other communities, and what exactly are we asking them to do? We talk about getting a story out, and that's fine, but, you know, what is the story, through what media, how frequently, to what audience? It is the middle of July, but it's not as if the need or the desirability of having some public relations presence just dawned on us. I mean, it's summer, we got a lot going on in town, this happens every year. So why we didn't build it into the budget, I don't know, I guess that's a discussion for next year's budget. But sitting here right now, we haven't entered into any agreements with anybody to do public relations that I'm aware of. So if we're going to do this on the fly, it'd be nice to know a little something about what it is we're actually doing.
I think it's
Well, we'll
a
find-
positive thing.
Right. I think typically what they do is they'll look to some type of event or something that's going on. They will put out a press release about that and get it into the media. We don't have anybody doing that right now. I mean, we have a number of newspapers who cover the events on the island. They do an excellent job. But I think it would be good to have some other types of releases put out. And some of them will probably be used in the papers that already cover the community. I think we'll leave it to them to tell us what they're going to do for dollar amount that Ed talked about, which would be under 5,000. What can you do for us in the next 30 to 60 days to kind of tell the story about what took place this summer, which will set us up for next year and that program. But we're not looking at spending a lot of money. We're just saying that the other municipalities are doing this. If we need to get in the game, I think it's important to get in the game now while things are going on.
Hey, listen, Rick, just to ask you, the way you're asking the question, it sounds like that you're against the promotion of Brigantine Fruit. Is that what you're saying here, or?
Mike, really, Mike?
We'll
Really,
take
Mike?
off.
Come on.
No, we'll take Reardon Haney Marketing Public Relation Firm off the group list for the promotion, but I'm just asking you. No, I'm not being, I'm
No,
just asking
Mike,
you.
you're being Mike. Of course, you know, and you know from the beginning, I am absolutely 100% in favor of marketing Brigantine. I was the one who said in the past, we should have put money in the budget and have a specific marketing budget, but instead, we decided we're going to go this route and raise some fees, and maybe next year that'll generate enough money to dedicate to it. Fine, if that's the approach you want to take.
Right.
I'm saying right now, we're in the middle of summer. It's not like we didn't know that if we're going to promote the town, we should probably do it before the summer.
Right.
But here's where we are. Now, if we're going to do something, what are we going to do? Let's do something that's effective. It sounds right now like it's just kind of, geez, it's the middle of July, we better do something. You know, that
And I
strikes
didn't
me as
mean it
poorly
the way,
planned.
I didn't mean it, if you, I
Of
didn't mean it
course
to-
I
yeah,
understand,
right,
Mike.
Okay.
Okay, does Ed need a resolution to,
No, I don't believe, what I'll do, I'll get prices and then share the work that I'll lay out with the council, but I expect that the number will be under $5,000 and purchasing says I can enter into that contract, but I certainly will let council see what the idea is. It's really just, you know, let's put together a message, let's start building what we are going to do, and we'll put it out. And it's something that we're not inventing the wheel. And that was, you know, the way I see it. Other communities are doing it. We're going to kind of build off of what they do, what they have found successful, and just start something. And I'll keep council informed.
great. Okay, any other reports from any committees?
I have a few things that I'd like to go over. I don't know if it's a committee thing, but I had a Fourth Ward person ask me about the skateboard or a skate rink down there in Dennis's ward, and they said that they have a chunk of concrete out of it. I went down there, and I don't see a chunk of concrete out of the skate rink, skateboard rink. Maybe Dennis can pick up the ball on that for me, and it's pretty shabby down there. There's no gate. The wire's taken out of the gate, and everybody can walk through. The gate's locked, but there's no gate there. I'd like to have some kind of discussion maybe with the chief and see if we have any complaints or anybody getting injured, maybe with the fire department, how many injuries are down there, and see if that's the best thing we can do is the skateboard rink. You know, I'm not trying to eliminate it, just trying to clean it up, and there's a lot of, cracks in the concrete and stuff like that, but there's no chunks out of it. There's stress cracks. What we can do with that, maybe resurface it or whatever. It looks like we have to put some money into that, and are we going to keep that moving forward? I know the chief and the two chiefs probably have some comments on that, Dennis. So if you can pick that up and run with that, I would appreciate that.
I'll go down and check it out. I know Mike and I coaching over the years, maybe some monstrous home runs, Mike, that maybe landed in there.
Right.
Yeah, that could be it.
I do have, with John Doring, gave me the veteran parking
Very nice.
Nice.
for the city of Brigantine.
Good.
John, can you say where we're going to be putting these?
We're going to be placing them at City Hall and at the Community Center.
Community Center. And if anybody from the Veterans Association, the VFW, the American Legions, wants a sign, I don't think we can take it out of public money, but I'm willing to pay for it, install it. So if somebody from the Veterans Association wants one of these signs in their parking lot, if it's outside the parking lot, they would have to come in front of council and ask if they can do that. I'm sure of all council will agree upon that. So that's something that I'm willing to do for the vets on my own. Speaking of paying stuff and for the vets, we do a lot for the vets in Brigantine, no doubt about it. All 7 of us up here agrees 100% when we do something for the vets. I had a request from a handicapped person the other day to have their lines, their curb painted blue. I said, yeah, that should be no problem. My response from the city is, we don't paint curbs blue for handicapped people. That's unacceptable to me. You can't, when we give them permission to put a handicapped parking spot out in front of their house or condo or whatever it's at, we need to be able to supply the paint the curb blue. We don't expect a handicapped person to go out there and do it themselves. Just identifying where the parking spot is. So I would like to have either a voice resolution, that we have an amendment to our handicap parking, that we supply the paint, we supply the placard, we supply the labor, and when somebody comes up and with everybody out there, I don't know how many we have right now, there's probably 20 of them in front of people's houses. I think we should be able to supply the paint, supply the labor, the placard, and the whole 9 yards. And if we can't do that, I'm willing to do it myself. So I'm calling for a voice resolution, or whatever way Fred Cerny tells me we have to do it, to amend our handicap ordinance. That's what I'm calling for right now.
So how do we designate that area now?
So the law is a sign, and the sign holds, and that's what we furnish and we install. The law does not require the blue paint. Some people like to put the blue paint out there. It's not required. It's still a reserved parking space, regardless of whether there's blue paint there or not. The reason we do not do it, talking with John, is simply that the handicap parking space is temporary for the term of the person requesting for that, the length of that disability. If it is removed, then how do we remove the blue paint?
Power wash it or paint it white.
That's right. So that's the, I'm just telling you the simple reason we don't do it. It is not required by law.
Well, I'm trying to make it the law here. You know, if that's the case, if not, anybody's handicapped can call me. I'll send my guys over there and paint it blue for them. And when they, and God forbid, when they leave or leave this earth, if they need me to come back and paint it white, I'll do that too. So I'm calling for a voice resolution right now to change our law in the city of Brigantine to help out any handicapped person, that we give a handicapped parking spot out in front of their house, that we supply blue paint. If it's a lines in the street to dedicate where the handicap parking spot is, the placard, the pole, the labor.
So the question, you talking about painting a line in the street and the curb?
If that's the case. The one person that asked me, and again, it's not partisan, she's not a Republican, she's actually a Democrat. She's 87 years old, asked me if we could do this. I said, sure, no problem, you know, and then I get that we don't do that. Well, I'm asking to change the law to help the handicapped people out there, because we give them a placard and it's not dedicated with a blue curb. That's the least we can do. We do everything for the vets. We give four-wheel drive permits for free. We freeze their taxes, whatever the case may be, and that's all well and good, and I believe that's great. But the handful of people that need the curb taken care of shouldn't have to go out and paint their own curb, and I think it's unacceptable for us as we're supposed to be a friendly town to all, especially handicapped people. If they need a parking spot in front of their house, we all agree upon it. We can put a little bit of paint on the curb. It takes 15 minutes.
So,
You mentioned
just to clarify, it is not a stance of ours to be unfriendly or unsupportive to anybody who's handicapped.
Right.
They get a handicap, they request a handicap parking space, it goes through the process, and they are given a handicap parking space. The line is simply that the blue paint is not required. So it's not us saying we're not willing to help a handicapped person. We go out of our way to help them.
Hey, don't take it personal.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Well, if it was personal, me and you would have face-to-face on this.
Yeah.
It's not,
That's the way I wish it had happened.
I
just wanted to make it
okay,
clear.
you said
It is not our effort to be unsupportive
Right.
of a handicapped person.
Okay.
Right? If somebody, the blue line's not required.
Okay.
If it's council's desire that when council approves a handicap parking space for a residential property, keep in mind, it's a handicap parking space requested by that homeowner. However, anybody with a handicap placard can park in that spot.
I understand that.
But if council desire that along with that sign will come 18 foot of blue paint, whether it is on the curb or our preference will be, I'll speak for John, in the street. If that's council's desire, we'll be happy to accommodate. It's not an issue of us not willing to help or accommodate. It is simply we were putting it in for the law. And there are reasons why we felt the blue line wouldn't be necessary. But again, if it's council's desire that that's how we do it, we will make it happen.
So, just so you would paint, it's easier to paint the street?
Yeah, it would be easier, but it would be easier to remove two lines
from the asphalt?
street and the asphalt. We can paint it black than the curb, and it would still designate the handicap sign and then two blue lines.
I like the lines that you're thinking along, John. I mean, if you just do like a couple lines rather than one big, long strip or section. I mean, there's certain chemicals and stuff they can use to maybe remove certain paints. What type of actual paint bases there are out there, I don't know. You might know a little bit about that.
Desire, whatever you guys
But
decide.
I'm just thinking something to let people know, but something that's not, something that can be maybe easily removed that's of less volume, so to speak.
Or even the,
Again, believe this
And we
is
can
a
always think this
discussion
over and
process.
see what's, you know, and see what we can come up with.
from the sign to
Yeah.
one line at the back.
Can I, because this is just coming up kind of on the fly. It's the first I've heard of it, and I honestly, I agree with Ed. It's not a question of us being friendly or being perceived as not friendly. Obviously, we all try to be a friendly and accommodating town within the limits of what we can and should do. I also don't get the relevance of what we do or don't do for the veterans. Any proposal that comes before us, which may be veteran-specific, if it has merit, we do it. So, and that's how I think we want to look at this. So my question is, or questions, Ed, are there any prohibitions against the kind of paintings being talked about? Right.
No, and I, you know, I want to take a step back because it did catch me off guard, and possibly took a defensive posture here. I think it adds to the awareness that this area is reserved for handicap parking. So in that effort, you know, there is no prohibition. We would use the color that is designated for the accessible delineations. So really on our end, it simply is an internal manpower and material thing that we will, you know, the Public Works will need to work out, if that, again, if that's council's desire.
Right.
So it does help delineate it, it helps bring the awareness. I probably took it maybe the wrong way. We can, if that's council's desire, we can do it, and it's certainly bringing it more aware and clearer to everybody. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, we all know that you have total support for the disabled. That's not even a question. How many, do you know, like roughly, is there a rough figure, how many spots maybe we have in the city right now?
I don't know, but we have,
Andy said
we
about
have
20.
a number of them.
And I thought, did Andy say about 20 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ed, has,
A couple dozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed, has there been any history or any complaints about a lack of, well, perhaps, a lack of delineation of the type we're talking about resulting in non-eligible people parking in these spaces?
But I think the problem is that people park too close, so you can't get the handicap car in. So if we don't designate where it is, they'll leave a space open, but that may not be enough space for them to get into. So,
Visibility issue?
right.
The lines are a great idea because there's places on the island, especially say around Laguna, that area there, and right across the street in front of Dr. Jill's office, there's 2 parking spots there. You get someone comes in and parks right in the middle of the place. If there was, I always think, if there was a little white line that subdivided parking spots, just on a mark on the curb, it would help. So definitely for disabled people with handicap parking, a blue line at the end of the parking spot, I don't need it.
Yeah, if anything, yeah, I agree. Some of, like, that's what I was saying, less volume, just something to get the job done, at least to, you know, so there's some type of visibility out there.
Well, but back to my question. Do we have a history of complaints of that type?
In the beach blocks, and certainly in the summer, we get complaints.
Well, obviously, Deputy Mayor Simpson had a complaint. That's why he brought up the issue.
Well, yeah, he
So-
identified a person, but you know,
Right.
I'd like to know how widespread the problem
Well,
is.
I mean, it's important to the person who brought it up. That's the nature of what we do. So we need some way to designate handicap parking spaces, so,
If requested,
no, I think
not
we-
everybody would want it, maybe.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I can
I'm
tell you,
throwing that out.
listening to the conversation, I mean, listening to the conversation, maybe on the beach blocks, it almost sounds like there's a need, and maybe not to paint the curb, but like what we do to kind of designate, I think he did on the south end, the lines going out to designate that so people leave enough room for that.
But
I would say my only concern would be, as we said, if we're painting the curb and we remove that spot or someone no longer needs it, you know, about the beautification of the city. But if you're talking about lines in the street that can be painted black, that wouldn't detriment to the city in the long run. It almost sounds like this is something that's needed.
Do you have the handicap template too? Because if you did the 2 lines and then the template in the middle, they would know that, like they do in the parking spots that are, I don't know if you have that or not.
We have the sign.
Yes.
The sign feet on the curb, and then 9 feet. See, and there's different places of where the sign is. If it's in front, directly in front of the home, so we'll put the blue lines designating the handicap in the street, so that they know the car's there, and there will be the handicap parking sign up that designates that spot.
Great.
We would like it not to do the symbol, if that just gets into a lot more work.
Right. The other thing with curbs too is, I know we've done a lot of them for people parking too close to the intersection,
Yeah.
but we have more to do. Because I know police are writing, I've had people who have received tickets, tell me that, well, that wasn't painted, but the law is still the same, right?
Correct. You don't need the yellow paint designating the 25 feet or the 10 feet or whatever. It's the law.
Now, if we made this change, will we go back and paint all the ones that are there now, or is this going forward?
So you're talking about 2 blue lines, right, John?
Yes, sir. Anybody that, we have no problem doing the lines. I have no problem at all. I don't think we need a rules resolution to do it. Just some guidance from, city manager, we'll go out and do it. Like I said, the vice statement recently,
Yeah.
we have no problem with that. And the deputy mayor comes and just tells me where we have a complaint, we'll be out there. It'll be done.
Fred, or Ed, this is the handicap parking generally, that's in our code? So, it's provision in the code, right? That's where it all comes from. And I think when we approve these spaces, we do that through ordinance, don't we? So, what does the code say right now about how we do or don't prepare an approved spot? And do we need to change the code in order to change the physical work that we do at a spot?
Let me break this into 2 pieces, if I can, from my point of view. As you go forward and have future applications for handicap spaces, I assume that that's initiated with some kind of written communication from the party who is requesting. Is
It
there
goes through the police
any-
chief.
Fine. And it may very well be that prospectively going forward, if the individual requesting the space would like the blue lines, that should be noted in the process. And that as council approves that application, it would include the blue lines. I don't know that we have to go back to the ordinance and amend the ordinance for the blue lines. I think that's probably an operational item we can deal with prospectively as to each new application coming in. And if you do it that way, I think it'll be easier and simpler. Then the question becomes the other piece. Retroactively, what do we do for those folks who already have the handicap spaces? Maybe even a simple letter to them saying, we are going to make available these blue lines. Would you like it? It's simply a yes or a no. We put together a list of those who have requested it, who already have the spaces, and John and the troops will take care of it. Then you just go from there. If that makes sense.
We will take care of it.
Okay.
So wait, what is it that people can ask of John's crew? Are we talking about potentially two perpendicular to the curb, blue lines?
That is what we are.
And nothing else? Okay.
And that supplements the sign that they already have.
But it designates the spot. The problem I think you're having is that people are judging how much room they need to leave for that person to occupy that spot, which may not be enough for that person to back in during, especially during the summer months.
We get that a lot in the summertime. People will call, someone's blocking my handicap spot.
18 was kicked around, 18 feet. But quite frankly, that is a number that is used when you're constructing a parking lot and you have pull-in parking and things like that. On-street parking, 18 feet is probably not a correct number. Whether it's 20 or 22, I mean, between the manager, John, and the chief, let them work it out, I would think.
Good. Okay, this time we're going to open the meeting for public comment. Yes, sir.
Ron May, 701 East Brigham Avenue. I wanted to talk about the tax appeals process that I just went through, because it seems awful cumbersome. We go in and we get our amounts, and then we file a paper, and then Vita Communications sends us theirs. But when we get to the hearing, I mean, we're told reasons that our comps aren't correct, or can be used is that the house needed work, a bank owned the house was in an estate, the neighbor bought the house, it was a short sale, where the new owners tore the house down. Is there a written, do we have that in writing anywhere? What are all the other qualifications so we don't pull a comp and then get there and say, well, that comp's not valid because of all these reasons? Is that written down anywhere? I mean,
Well, I'll defer to Mr. Cerny since he does all the tax appeals.
I mean, the answer is yes, but the question you are asking does not go to municipal regulation. It goes to the procedures that are applied by the county board of taxation. And the non-usable items are not something that is even determined by the county board. Those non-usable items are basically come from the state. The assessor will check comparable against state records, and they will advise whether it's an NU or not. So it's a state level determination as to whether something is non-usable. There are certain categories where even though it's an NU, the county board can still look at it and give that comp adjusted weight. It may not get the full weight as a property that is not suffering from an NU designation, but it would be able to give it some weight. To the extent that you make the observation that this situation is somewhat challenging and confusing, you make a correct statement, but that does not originate with the municipality. As an aside, and I'm sure most folks are aware, probably yourself, there's an ongoing discussion now in Atlantic County about changing the assessment system and getting a more centralized system, which prospectively may be of some assistance. But I agree with your observation. This whole process is a little confusing, or a lot confusing, but the specific question you're asking about NUs, they do not originate with the municipality. That is a state-level designation that the county board administers.
Well, when I looked into the state regulations, I did not see any of these listed. The state regulations seem to be, and I'll talk to them about it, seem to be, if I read it correctly, that it's supposed to be, they have like 6 requirements. None of those requirements are the requirements that I was denied. But let that go. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm confident 675 square feet on the lot. The city picked one 40 blocks away. My lot's 50 by 80. That lot's 80 by 90. If I just do a square foot analysis of ground, your comp, if it's extracted correctly, as a comp should be, ends up being less than what my request was. If I do net buildable area, your comp is less than what I suggested. So it got me looking at the way in which you prepare your comps and analyze your comps. I mean, it doesn't seem like it makes sense to go 40 blocks on this island with a comp of 675 square foot, 2-bedroom, like each one. Now, so I started looking into it a little bit further, and I said, well, maybe it's just my area, maybe I have something right there. I did all the houses that sold from the 200 block to the 800 block that are in your book here, right? I took all those houses and said, is there something inherent in the system that is creating an issue? And I put them on a spreadsheet, and I came up with that area of the island So the sales equaling 6.8 million. Now, the tax value, which is supposed to be fair value, if I'm correct, market value, that's October 1st, that's what the state regulation is. Fair value, market value is all the same.
Yes, it is October 1st of the previous year. So
Yeah.
when you're doing an assessment for 2017, you look at October 1st of 2016, and when you are putting together comparables for a 2017 appeal, you begin to focus on the 12 months between October 1st of 2016 going back to October 1st of 2015. They are the 12 months where you get your primary comparables as you assess the 2017.
That's what I look at in the book. It's on the back side of the book. This was not a scientific forensic study. This was, but what it showed me was it was 6.8 million in sales, but the tax rate on that 6.8 million was 8.7 million, or 2 million over the fair market value, and to all sales, regardless of what they were. So the line shows that there's approximately a 30% overcharge or overvalue. I don't care what the charges are, overvalue of those properties in that area, which equals about a 90% rate of property being overcharged or overvalued. Not charged, I don't care what the charge is. So then I did the entire item from one end to the other from the last 12 months comp sales. And I found that the sales amount was $20,534,000. The taxable amount was $24 million too. So that shows that there's a 24% overvaluation at this point. So what can be done to adjust that valuation? So one, it's equal to where it needs to be, where it should be, which is fair market. You know, I'll check with the state taxation office again on that. But they have on their website, it talks about fair market value and 100% of the fair market value. And it says comp sales are the primary establishment of fair market values.
Okay. I don't know what your numbers are, precisely what you've done. I do understand what you're sharing. I hear what you are saying. However, I suspect, and I mean this respectfully, that the numbers that you have put together include non-usable sales. So that the lower number that you are getting that springs from all sales that you have calculated include non-usable sales, which tend to be lower. They probably include bank sales, foreclosure sales, and things of that nature. And then when you leave that category of sales with the NUs included and look at the assessed value, of necessity, the assessed value is going to be higher because the assessed value is calculated at what an arm's length transaction market rate would have been. And if I understand your analysis, you have taken all these sales across the entire community so that the complication that springs from the presence of the NUs is going to be even more exaggerated in your analysis because you're taking the entire community, you're looking at all sales, which include the NUs, and trying to compare it to fair market value as calculated by the assessor. I think that's what you're doing. I think that may be why your numbers are coming back. It goes back to our earlier conversation as to the presence of the NUs as imposed by the state. And when you fold those non-usables in and try to treat the non-usables as though they are market rate sales, the discrepancy that you are seeing in your numbers is a discrepancy that, yes, you are going to see.
I did not take any bank sales. I only took person-to-person sales or builder-to-person sales. I didn't use any bank sales.
But when you created the variables, though, you said you talked about all sales being included in there.
All comparable sales can be.
No, you talked.
You guys
right.
have all this data in your book. It wouldn't be that hard to calculate.
But what I'm getting at, though, is and I think what Mr. Cerny is saying, if you took the total amount sold in that area and compared it to what it's assessed at is what you did.
I only took person-to-person sales, total person-to-person sales. Real estate sales are real estate market exposed to the market, like my comp.
Okay, you didn't use any bank sales or anything like that?
No, I did not take bank owner sales, foreclosure sales, deed sales, I didn't see where Keys Blue was specified in there. I didn't take any of those. The number is pretty good. I mean, in my area, I know them, correct? And then I went back and found out what made the 30% offset in the numbers. Because you have land and building. And it's the land value that creates the 30% off, because you have the land value of 211 for a lot. Should be more like 155, 160 in a fair valuation. Because of the sales that were exposed at the market for over 60 days, dumped to a real. I mean, it's good.
So with your own situation, you went through the tax appeal process?
I'm in court right now, I'm waiting for the county to get back. I don't know what it is. It's just what I saw explained to me there was not correct. The comps were not correct, and how they found it wasn't correct, and how they pulled them out, and it wasn't correct, and how they found it. So the process is not working. These numbers show the process is not working. And I think it's a very simple solution. Who is Vital Communications? Who are that?
Ones who did our last reeval.
Okay. I would say, why not use a local realtor? Rotate the contract around to a local realtor, you got 6 or 8 of them, give one every year. And instead of doing all of this, the taxpayer just comes in with a group of cops. Your tax assessor meets us at the realtor's office. We pull the compass. The realtor has a lot better thumb on the handle than what I saw at Vital Communications.
Yes.
I mean, a local realtor here, you're keeping the money you're on the island.
Yes, sir, it has to be like a certified company that deals in that. I mean, I have some background with independent, some years ago, I did some accreditation with the independent fee appraisers, and I think it was Real Estate Appraisers of America. And I've been through what you said. I've been in your shoes before, so to speak. And I think if they took every property and, you know, they just don't have the time, I guess, to take every property and just break it down specifically to what the value would be. However, when something does occur, there is this process, obviously, that you can go through and extrapolate out certain values that you believe your property is worth. And that's, you know, like maybe you can locally meet with somebody, there's the county, there's different options. And also, like, as you're speaking, I've read this before. There's on the website within the state, there's a property valuation, it's just like a pamphlet form, but it's in PDF. You can look that up, and it talks about looking at the true value where there is no duress going on, there's no, right. So, I mean, it explains it further and touches on some of those things, so. Pardon me?
I expect I like buying something.
Okay, well, I did the same thing myself. I mean, I used to have rental properties no longer, but I went through it.
When someone wants to come in and make an appeal, and they fill the appeal process.
But I would think that we have to follow the procedure that's laid out by the state law. I mean, we can't, and believe me, your comments about appraisals in the state of New Jersey and tax appeals, the process is a mess. The timing of it is ridiculous, because our budget's already established, and there are appeals that are created, and perhaps there is money due back to taxpayers. It creates a mess within the municipality's budget for that year as well. So you're absolutely right. It is not a process that is as efficient as it should be. There are individuals working on, first of all, a countywide assessment so that the information would be kept current with the right software, and looking at the timing of when appeals take place. I think Mr. Cerny's talked about that before. The law needs to be changed at the state level, that they shouldn't be occurring now. They should have happened before the budget was struck and we developed a budget for the year.
Does Brigantine have the right to assess the value? I mean, your tax assessor can take a property, and if I say it is 300, and they say it is 325, it's currently 350, they can make that agreement then?
There are informal meetings, right, Mr. Cerny, that I think what he's asking is if he appeals his taxes, can he sit with you and the tax assessor to talk about what the value is based on the comps that they have?
Within the process, that is an ongoing procedure. I mean, the appeals are filed on April 1. It is not unusual for the assessor to interact with property owners sometime after April 1. That is, those property owners that have filed an appeal, and have discussion. you ask the assessor, she will tell you that daily, during the entire appeal process, she is interacting with property owners to see if there are areas of resolution where there is a common understanding as to what the value should be.
Yeah,
That goes on all the time.
Right, yeah, Fred, within the literature of the state that they have, they actually encourage that, right, Fred? I mean, they encourage you to meet with your assessor. And
5 minutes are up, I don't know.
Thank you, Lee.
This is on Excel.
Thank you. Yes, John?
John Pucci, 100 Sheridan Square. Good morning, Council, and thank you for having this Saturday morning meeting. The process that was just mentioned as far as a taxpayer coming in and talking to the city's tax assessor, that process is called a stipulation. I've done it before in another city, so there is that process. It's called a stipulation. As a resident and taxpayer of Brigantine, I support the expenditures for the Public Works Department and supporting them financially with their efforts in keeping Brigantine safe. I also support the $5,000 pro-Brigantine promotion. I've attended one of those development and economic meetings recently, and it is just now that monies are getting together from outside sources in order to promote tourism and development in Brigantine. It's coming along, and so much is going on in Brigantine right now. I can see where we want to do something this year, even if it's minimal, and get the word out of all the good things being done in Brigantine. Then we can look at that as a benchmark and see how we can better improve next year. So I also support those minimal costs of the $5,000 or less to promote Brigantine this year. I have on my list to talk about ADA, the American Disabilities Act. The American Disabilities Act was part of a Civil Rights Act signed by President Bush in 1990. It was to prevent discrimination several different ways. As counsel, you certainly know about discrimination in the workplace and being an employer. There's also another part of the American Disabilities Act is access to public accommodations for commercial businesses. In Brigantine, I don't necessarily want to say several, many, a lot. In Brigantine, there's businesses that provide public accommodations where people go there, and they are not currently providing handicap parking spots. They're not providing easy access into the buildings as the regular public could do. This has been deemed discrimination, and it's happening in Brigantine. So please don't take me wrong, counsel. I'm not here saying, why haven't you done something? That's not where I'm going with this. That's not the attitude. My request, my respectful request is, what can the city do? What can the city do to finally have our businesses and places of a public accommodation in Brigantine provide handicap accessibility? It's the law. There's no such thing as grandfathering. Your place was built before 1990. Well, no, it's only for new places. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as grandfathering for civil rights discrimination. So I ask, even the City Hall last year provided the panic, or the push buttons for access to come into our buildings. Even the city is coming to in compliance ADA requirements. So I think the whole city of Brigantine should come in compliance, specifically with public accommodations and disability access into buildings. The options are, you can file a federal complaint with the Department of Justice in Brigantine. You can file a lawsuit against that establishment with punitive damages, or maybe there's a process in City Hall. I don't quite know what that is. I have asked in prior meetings that there really isn't any local authority to enforce this. I would ask and suggest that maybe an ad hoc committee be established, and or an ordinance specifically that all businesses in town provide ADA requirements. That's what I'm asking, for the council to look into this a little bit deeper, and not as a punishment, or you have to spend the money. It's a federal law. You're supposed to do it. And I think we all support handicap and people with disabilities, but this is one thing that is not being addressed.
John, 5 minutes are up.
Great,
John,
Finish up.
I just want to say, obviously, we all sympathize and empathize with the disabled and the handicapped. My own grandma, I grew up with my grandma. And she fell, had a severe fall on a boat, and she was crippled. I lived with her my entire life since I was a little child. She was crippled her entire life, and she could barely move. So we've all known people like that and seen situations like that. I don't know what businesses you're actually referring to, but I know under ADA in Title III, private organizations and religious organizations are exempt from that.
That is true.
Yes, so I don't know, so they would be out of the box. Now,
That is
certain
true.
Things, getting into all the details, I don't have obviously all the paperwork and everything in front of me, but I know when certain improvements are done, maybe you have to adhere to certain things, or if you have so many spots, you have to do so many things, but private and religious organizations are exempt. They can opt to do certain things, and so if that helps you at all, does that
I wasn't
help clarify?
speaking of those, Councilman, and I know that exemption. I was speaking about in Brigantine, when you go to a restaurant, and Brigantine is a great place, absolutely. I'm not condemning Brigantine, but when tourists come in, and especially where my heart is at, disabled veterans, they come into one of our restaurants, there's no handicap parking, and business establishments. And I think it should be looked at and improvements made that discrimination doesn't continue. They're supposed to do it. It's within our city, and we do a lot of other things within this city, as far as not releasing balloons and you know, painting streets for handicap spots in front of a home or whatnot. This is a big one. This
John,
is a big one.
you know, getting back to that, if you know of some specific areas that don't have handicap parking, would you send us a list? And it's as simple as us mentioning to them if they need handicap parking, if they don't have it. I don't know off the top of my head that anybody who has a parking lot right now doesn't have it.
Mayor, I don't think it's I agree with you. I respectfully agree with you. I don't want to come to this mic and start announcing businesses that don't.
Keep that, yeah.
But
Just, can you get us a list?
my councilman in the second ward, Mr. Reardon, he has been talking to me about this. We talked on the phone last night, and we're going to meet about this. I'm just asking that will the city assist, take a look at this?
Maybe a solution in looking for
Working
a
the
problem.
solution.
There may not be, we may not have the problem that, if you know some places, let us know, because anybody who comes before the planning board for a new application has to meet all those requirements. And I'm not asking you to go out and do an extensive search. Chief, have you had any complaints?
No, Mayor, we have not.
And and I'm thinking, off the top of my head, I don't know of any areas, that there may be. Just let us know.
And just like I told you last night, John, paperwork's been filed about this, and it's being looked at. So, you know, it's
You know, I don't
It'll
think
get
it's
taken
a
care of.
matter of having a complaint before you be proactive. There wasn't any complaints with City Hall of not having access doors to City Hall, but yet we did it anyway.
Right.
We did it to comply with the federal law. So I don't believe it's necessarily a matter of, well, we have to have one complaint or so many complaints for it to happen. I'm just asking that the city be part of this request, and it seems that Mr. Reardon may be the one designated that we can take a look at this and absolutely come to a solution. That's the main goal, to come to a solution.
Yeah, I can say one other thing. If you just look around the city, I mean, I don't know of any other place that has as many corners that are cut out for disabled people. All the city buildings and between parking spots and doors and everything else. I mean, I think the city's done an excellent job, I have to say, on taking care of
And I also
disabled
think the
spots and all.
city's
Yeah.
done it. I'm speaking of public accommodations for businesses.
Right.
Commercial
Right.
establishments. That's what I'm saying. And there's at least a dozen that I know
Yeah.
that aren't compliant. At
Well,
least a dozen.
I agree with you 100%, John.
So-
If there should be a spot there, then it should be there, and that's it, so. you know,
So,
we'll
Mayor, I
take care
guess
of it.
finally what I'm asking for is that the process, that the communication be with the city, and that the city have a process to, if it send out letters, that's fine. That the city move toward working that commercial establishments have the correct disability access per federal law. That's what I'm asking for.
Thank you, John.
Also, maybe we could put
5 minutes are up.
the notices for the app, for the beaches. Maybe we could put a sign at the entrances. Might help people know to get it right there. In fact, if they don't have, and they're
We have
getting ready.
room for any more signs, John. I think you got a sign about, okay. We have to look for longer standards.
I support the veteran sign that Councilman Simpson put out. I take it we're still working on the Veteran Street dedication. I'm out of time, but I know that'll come up again. We're still working on a process.
Yeah, I was looking into that also, John. I have some things that maybe I can show you afterwards, just a couple pictures, actually, give a rough idea maybe what we can do. And I was talking to Ed and Mayor, and the Mayor, and also John.
And what-
Something right by Veterans Way, adjacent to, the area where Rogie Way is, get something right there. It's a great idea.
Thank you. And I don't know if the scheduling with the first Tuesday in August and the council meeting, I haven't looked at yet, but we're still, Chief, we're still going to have our National Night Out event this year. And I just want to mention that's one other great event that the city does to promote.
Thank you, John.
May I say one last thing, Mayor, that's close to my heart? The past 2 weeks, there was another officer gunned down in New York City. Those incidents are on the rise in America. Last year, I don't know how it happened, but we all saw all those signs around town, we support our police. In fact, we even have a plaque. This council approved a plaque in our own lobby. We support our police department. What I would like to ask is, not only in our lobby, to not just talk about it on the news channels in the evening, but to do something extra than that. Would this council, I would ask this council to consider a sign out in front of City Hall that we support our police department. So for the people that don't necessarily come in City Hall to pay their taxes or whatnot, the summer people, that this community says out front of City Hall, we support our police. I'd ask the council consider that, and logistics can be worked out. We can put a nice sign out, the three-dimensional sign, and that'll be at no cost to the city. I'll make the sign and have somebody from the Artist Walk paint it, and maybe the Public Works Department can put it in. But just so every day when we drive by City Hall, all the residents of this city and the summer residents can see, and we propagate, yes, we support our police department. I ask for your consideration on that suggestion.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate your generosity. Any other public comment? Yes, John.
John Livesey, 203 Ninth Street North. I'm here on behalf of the Brigantine Municipal Alliance, and I want to thank the council, mayor, for those warm recognition earlier about the Hooked on Fishing event. I just have a few comments, if I may. I really don't want to start thanking everybody because there's so many people that help make that an event. It's truly not just a Municipal Alliance event. It's become the Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs Department of Education group. They come down and help. Our Atlantic County Correlation of Hooked on Fishing comes over and help. If you were at the event, you saw the Hummer and the state trailer that we have. The ASACs, the Association for Surf Anglers Clubs, come and help, and they do all our judging. The LBI Fishing Club comes down every year and helps us out. Geez, there's so many. The Brigantine Beach Patrol helped us out this year, and so did the Coast Guard, as you know, with the Hilo demonstration. I don't want to start naming individual businesses. Just look at the back of our shirt. You'll see them all there, because I know I'll leave out somebody. But I do want to recognize our CFO, Roxanne, because this is a very busy time and a hectic time for me, and I've certainly given her a hard time trying to put things in at the last minute. Unfortunately, you send out begging letters and people say they can donate this and donate that, and at the last minute they don't come through, and I have to make it out and say, okay, what do? I have this committed and that committed, and I either got to pay for it or, you know, get some funds. And Roxanne's been teaching me. I'm not a very good learner, I guess, but I do appreciate her patience and understanding, and I also, you know, appreciate the city. And I guess lastly, John Dorn, Jim Dorn, and the Public Works, they're fantastic. They're there when they have to be there. They get things set up for us, and they're there to take it down. And we were done by, I guess, about 1:30 at the latest. We were all out, packed up and out. And so the day was fantastic. I also like to recognize the man upstairs for giving us great weather, because we've been very fortunate these last few years. I also want to point out, 2012, legislation was passed specifically for Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs. The House Assembly, I think it's the bill or legislation number 638, and the Senate number 178. There's short legislation, but it's all designating a program, Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs, that the state has, and the Department of Fish and Wildlife now run the Hooked on Fishing program. Ours is kind of separate, and I don't know how many people know this, but our program here in Brigantine was the one that really initiated that program. So what you see at the state level now was started here in Brigantine, and I know he doesn't like the recognition, but George Foreman and his wife Dot were very instrumental in getting this program started. And he doesn't like to get a lot of credit, but many of the prizes that were there, that we were able to give away, were donated by him and people that he knows. So I need to thank him. And the gentleman, Jim Parker, who makes the custom fishing rod every year. He donates a custom, that has a value of about $250 that one of the kids gets. So this is a big event. It's not just a municipality event. It's not just a municipal alliance event. It's a community event. And we had over 180 kids here between the ages of 5 and 15, plus their parents, and I had 50 volunteers that day to make that day possible. And I do want to thank everybody for that. I'm sure I left people off, but the support of the city is greatly appreciated, and I think we're going to get working on the next date for next year pretty soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
One other thing, you were talking about a public relations, and I personally think we have the resources. They're just not being managed. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean if you have a calendar and you don't update it, it doesn't matter who you have run it if it doesn't get updated for the public. With social media out there and the chambers out there, the Chamber of Commerce, and you know, we all grab stuff and post it and get it out there. I think the word's getting out there. But if things aren't getting updated, if we can't send people to a calendar to look, I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if a separate public relations is the good thing. Maybe I'm not understanding that concept, but I think we have the tools. I just don't think they're being utilized right. It's just my 2 cents. But thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Thank you, John.
Great job.
Okay, any other public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public portion. Any further council comments?
I have a couple. If you have an hour and 2 minutes to get to the farmer's market, come on out, shop. Hopefully there's a little bit left for everybody still coming, and also the art walk tonight from 5 to 8 here in Hahnemann Park. On Wednesday, July 19th, from 9 to 11, the fire department is doing free blood pressure screening at the community center of 42nd Street. There's so much going on, and also I'm going to be having my 3rd annual First Ward meeting on Thursday, July 27th at the Links. It will begin approximately 6 o'clock. You can order dinner and beverages from the 19th hole from the Cove right there at the Links, so you can eat during the meeting. Everybody is welcome. We will be discussing things from our First Ward issues and any other city updates that we will have. Everybody is welcome. That's Thursday, the 27th at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Bill, can I make a comment?
Sure.
We're starting a group called the Breakfast Club, and it's for all kids in Brigantine. It starts this Monday, July 17th. It's going to be from 7:30 to 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday from now until Labor Day. It's free breakfast for any kid in Brigantine. It's going to be right at the community church across the street. It's sponsored by Hand Up Brigantine and True Spirit Coalition. That gives the kids a nutritious breakfast and a chance to maybe socialize with their friends. Some kids don't get out and see other kids during the summer as much. But this way they start off their day with a good breakfast. We're trying to get, you know, the senior citizens involved as well. So we kind of bridge the gap between the kids and the senior citizens at the same time. Maybe they're going to help us serve.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to volunteer, just contact me. I'd love to have it.
Yeah.
But it'll be, you know, every day free breakfast. So we think it's a good thing.
Good.
Thank you. It's a great thing, yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to bring up too, there's been a lot of concern on the island, especially on social media, about keeping the beaches clean. I know after the 4th of July weekend, there was a lot of trash that was left down there, and there was a number of different groups that have gone down. In fact, I think there's 2 groups out there today cleaning. But one of the things that we're starting with our Brigantine Clean Communities and our Brigantine Chamber of Commerce, we're starting this, it's out on social media. We'll also have stickers available too, but we're trying to start an education program in order to keep our beaches clean. If we can start that culture of what you bring in with you is what you take back out, it will really help the island and keep things beautiful. So I know people at home can't see this sticker, but it's also on social media. It says, "Keep Brigantine clean," and it says, "Please leave only your footprints." So this is something we'd like people to share on social media, and is there a place where people can get these stickers if they want them? All right, I'll find out about that. Well, I looked at John. Listen, John knows everything, so I kind of looked at him like, hey, do you know? But this is something that's really important to us, and I think it's going to take a community effort to really educate people on keeping the island clean. One of the things I want to do, too, is also commend the Brigantine Beach Patrol. We won our Brigantine home races for the 6th year in a row, and that competition really shows and demonstrates the skills that all of our lifeguards have. And those skills really came into effect about a week ago. There was a report of a missing person in the water. And I can tell you, as a lifeguard, that is worst case scenario. Our guards responded with great precision. We got teams down there. We shut down part of the beaches. I think about a third of the beach patrol went down. It was a great coordinated effort down at the jetty where we've actually put new guards in. It was a great coordinated effort between police, between the fire department, and between the Coast Guard. They did a search for about an hour. Everything ran really well, and it really showed the professionalism of all of our departments. And probably one of the best things in this is that it's believed that the person who was in the water that those guards saw got out, and it wasn't a person who drowned. You know, so I'm very, very proud of the actions from our guards who were the first people on the scene all the way through, and I'm grateful for all of our city departments and the job that they do keeping all of our residents and all of our visitors safe. So a big thank you to everyone who was involved.
Thank you, Vince.
Real quick, the Brigantine Beach Cultural Arts Commission still has the arts display going on down at the Historical Society Museum. It's a great place to visit. And besides that, I just want to say big thank you to everyone. It's been real busy since the end of the month. We've had beach entrance issues, parking issues, a lot of different things going on, and everyone up here, including council members, I thank you all helping out. And lastly, Roxanne didn't have to get up this morning, come out today, but she chose to get up on this Saturday morning, so thank you, Roxanne. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, I do want to mention, just to recognize what Lynn said and Reverend John Scotland for the work that he does in always opening up his church to serve our community. He just does extraordinary things in the community, and this is another great idea. And it's not surprising that Reverend Scotland and his church are behind it, because that's the kind of stuff that they do. So with that said, if there's no other...
Mayor?
I just would shout out for the Brian...
Disrespecting the chief,
The Brian Woods Memorial Scholarship was awesome, a great turnout for
Yes.
that. And what was the other? Vince and I were down at the 20th anniversary for the children's bingo that the Temple Beth Shalom runs, and the city council, we presented a plaque, well deserved. My own children went to that years ago, and they continue on a great tradition. John, I mentioned to you earlier, I actually had a couple pictures. They're sitting home by my stove. They're not doing much good there, but just to give you an idea, if anyone can just kind of see that, this young brave soldier here, Dennis Zelinsky, was killed in Iraq, and maybe we can do this format here for maybe a sign by Veterans Way, and you know, we'll discuss it in some further detail. But it just so happens that Dennis was the son of the troop commander from Garden State Parkway, Dennis Zelinsky Jr., and this was Dennis II. He was killed by a roadside bomb. But this is just an example of the sign. It has a, God rest his soul, by the way, blue background, white lettering, and I think if we followed a format, something like that, it would look quite nice.
Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Being this is our only meeting before August, just a reminder, Tuesday, August 1st, we're having our third annual National Night Out at the 26th Street Complex from 6 to 9 p.m. The last two events that we had, I need to be reminded.
Even Siri's coming.
Yeah. The last two events that we had were absolutely phenomenal. The attendance has increased each year. I'm hoping this year we have another great event. We're going to have free food and beverages as usual. A lot of local vendors are donating their time and their wares to us. We're going to have the Coast Guard come in again with the helicopter. The Medevac helicopter will be there. We're going to have games. There'll be a movie at night for the kids about 8 o'clock. Of course, we'll have Mayor Justine back singing the anthem again for us. And we're up to about 25 or 30 state, local, and federal agencies are going to come and do demonstrations and bring their stuff with us, everybody from the DEA on down. And we're going to try and put together another SWAT demonstration like we did last year, too, with the flashbangs for everybody. So again, that's August 1st, Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. At the 26th Street Complex. I hope to see everybody there.
Chief, I want to ask, first I want to thank you for your work in working with the New Jersey State Police Marine Bureau and finding a safer location for the jet ski rentals. I appreciate all of your work with that, and I know that the members of the yacht club, the rowing club, and voters and everyone else,
And neighbors.
They appreciate the fact that you were able to make that happen. Also, if you could just take a second, not to prolong the meeting, but we've had some discussions about the crosswalk issues, and, safety regarding how people enter the roadway?
Crosswalks are a touchy subject in law enforcement overall. And I said in a newspaper article earlier in the year, there's fault on both sides. You have motor vehicle operators who simply disregard pedestrians that are very clearly standing there waiting to cross the intersection. And by the same token, you have pedestrians who either out and out jaywalk right in front of, police officers. We've had them this summer already. Or folks who just walk right across the street and pay no never mind to traffic. They assume they're going to stop. You're never going to win a battle against a 2-ton vehicle. So, I encourage our pedestrian traffic to pay attention, give the cars a second or two. Don't just walk out into the street at a crosswalk. Whether it's a marked crosswalk or not, the law really doesn't differentiate. We're still supposed to stop. We have this set up there at the 26th Street, 25th Street, where, it's a little more high visibility, but 2 blocks down, if somebody wants to cross Brigantine Avenue, we should all be stopping. So it's going to take give and take on both sides, both the pedestrians and the motor vehicles.
Even on Bayshore Avenue, we should be stopping if people are...
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah,
at any intersection.
Right, absolutely.
Any intersection. And it goes the same,
Whether it's painted or
bicyclists.
not.
And bicyclists have to follow the rules that automobiles do, not pedestrians. If you see a bicyclist sitting there, they're supposed to travel just like a car does. They're not supposed to get any special treatment like a pedestrian does.
Really?
Correct.
Even if they get off their bike? and
Even if
walk?
they get off their bike.
But I appreciate the chief's comments because I've seen it firsthand where some people don't stop and could be stopped on the other side of the street and they continue on the opposite side. And I have seen people walk out and without looking, and sometimes with traffic parked on Brigantine Avenue, it's difficult to see that person entering the intersection. So if everyone would just be careful, both the pedestrians and the drivers, obviously, safety is our #1 concern.
Especially in from our A zone, let's say from 30th Street, 29th Street, almost all the way down to the old CVS. That is a high traffic area, especially in the summertime. All the rental properties that people are coming and going from the beaches. Just pay attention.
And especially where it's 2 lanes.
Correct.
Going each
Yeah.
way, because you'll stop for the people coming out, and then somebody comes around.
Yep. You'll see sometimes if you come up Brigantine Avenue or Bayshore or Ocean Avenue, you may see one of my guys sitting in the middle of the roadway with his lights on. And that's usually just to get somebody's attention. They'll get in that left lane if they're in the left lane, and they'll either block both lanes or they'll turn their lights on to let people behind them know, because we've issued a number of summonses this year for exactly that. People going right around.
Right.
They
I'll try to
think
get
you're
to
stopping
that.
to make a left turn with no signal or something.
Hey, I'd just like to make one last quick comment about the National Night Out on Tuesday, October 1st, right?
August.
August 1st, sorry. I want to thank Councilman Haney for that night, for being the first one to volunteer to get into the dunk tank. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Mike.
Unfortunately, I moved up Boston, actually, that night. I just booked it when I heard about the no.
Understood.
I actually am going to be up there.
Mike will be the second one in the dunk tank.
So, Mayor,
He's coming back.
To put a fine point on the crosswalk thing, we're going to continue our education process. In the beginning of this season, before Memorial Day, we started putting a lot of stuff out through the social media and in the papers about, some crosswalk etiquette, and we'll continue to do that. At the end of the season, we'll do it as a reminder for the winter, and then April, May, we'll start up again.
Great. Well, thank you, Chief. And as has already been said, busy time of year, but all the departments are really going above and beyond, and we appreciate the efforts. If there are no other comments, could we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Once again, I appreciate everyone who came and participated in our meeting today, and thank those people who are watching at home. Still enough time to get out and enjoy the beautiful Brigantine beaches. There are a lot of other things today, so have a great day. Thank you.